No more Mr. Nice Guy. Machiavelli's 8 rules for people who are done being used. There is a moment, and if you are watching this, you have probably already lived it, when something inside you goes completely silent. Not the silence of peace. Not the silence of contentment. The silence of a person who has finally run out of excuses for other people's behavior. You gave your time. You gave your loyalty. You gave your energy, your trust, your patience, sometimes all four at once, to the same person, over and over again. And what did you receive in return? Manipulation dressed up as friendship. Exploitation wearing the costume of love. Ingratitude packaged so neatly that you almost thanked them for it. You were kind. You were accommodating. You were the person everyone called when they needed something, and somehow, that same crowd became very hard to reach when you were the one who needed something. You smiled when it hurt. You stayed quiet when you should have spoken. You told yourself that being the bigger person was a virtue. And maybe it was. But there is a fine line between being the bigger person and being the person everyone else stands on to reach higher ground. That line, Machiavelli understood it better than almost any thinker in human history. Niccolò Machiavelli was not a villain. He was a realist. A man who watched power, studied human nature without sentiment, and wrote down what he saw with unflinching honesty. His most famous work, The Prince, was not a manual for tyrants. It was a mirror, held up to the face of reality, showing us the world not as we wished it to be, but exactly as it is. And today, we are going to use his wisdom to set you free. These are Machiavelli's 8 rules for people who are done being used. Not rules for becoming cold, not rules for becoming cruel, rules for becoming someone who can never be taken advantage of again. If this kind of content speaks to your soul, deep, honest, life-changing philosophy, then hit that subscribe button right now and join this community. We publish videos designed to transform the way you think, the way you carry yourself, and the way you move through this world. Now, let us begin. Rule 1. Stop announcing your intentions to people who are not on your side. Machiavelli wrote that a wise man does not reveal all his thoughts, because the world is full of people waiting to use that information against him. This is not paranoia. This is pattern recognition dressed in principle. Think about every time you told someone your plans before they were finished. Your business idea, your relationship goals, your personal ambitions, and think about what happened next. Some people discouraged you, not because your plan was bad, but because your success would inconvenience them. Some people smiled to your face and quietly worked against you. Some people took your idea, dressed it in different clothes, and claimed it as their own. And some people did nothing except plant seeds of doubt in your mind at the exact moment when you needed confidence most. Nice people overshare. They do it because they are genuine, and they assume everyone else is too. They talk because they trust. And in a perfect world, that trust would be honored. But Machiavelli did not live in a perfect world. Neither do you. The rule is simple. Protect your process. You are not obligated to narrate your journey in real time to an audience that has not earned a front row seat. There is nothing dishonest about keeping your plans close to your chest. There is nothing secretive about allowing your results to speak before your intentions do. Let people be surprised by your success. Surprise is far safer than sabotage. Speak when the work is done. Move in silence until the victory makes noise on its own. This is not coldness, it is strategy. And Machiavelli would tell you that strategy, in a world full of opportunists, is simply wisdom wearing armor. Rule 2. Understand that gratitude is rare, and stop expecting it. Here is one of Machiavelli's most uncomfortable observations, and one of the most liberating once you truly absorb it. People are, by nature, ungrateful. He wrote that men will promise you their loyalty, their love, their devotion, and they will mean every word, right up until the moment when keeping that promise costs them something. The moment sacrifice is required, most people discover a sudden amnesia about everything you did for them. This is not cynicism. This is the truth that nice people refuse to accept, and that refusal is exactly why they keep getting hurt. You helped someone move forward. You gave them a connection, an opportunity, a listening ear at 2 in the morning when everything in their life was falling apart. And now that they are doing well, now that the storm has passed and the sun is shining on their future, they have moved on. They do not call. They do not check in. They scroll past your struggles in silence while you once sat up all night managing theirs. And you are baffled, because you would never do that. Because your loyalty does not have an expiration date. But here is what Machiavelli would say to you. Stop measuring others by your own standard. People are not ungrateful because they are evil. They are ungrateful because self-interest is the dominant force in human motivation. Once someone no longer needs what you were providing, the emotional debt they owe you becomes inconvenient to remember. So they forget. When you stop expecting gratitude, something remarkable happens. You stop giving from a place of need and start giving from a place of choice. Your generosity becomes intentional rather than compulsive. You help people because you want to, not because you are hoping they will remember it. And because you are no longer waiting for a thank you that may never come, you are no longer devastated when it does not arrive. This is not becoming cold. This is becoming free. Rule 3. Never beg for respect. Position yourself so that respect becomes inevitable. Machiavelli was brutally clear on this point. A leader who must constantly demand loyalty has already lost it. Respect that needs to be asked for is not respect, it is performance. And performance ends the moment the audience gets bored. Nice people beg for respect without realizing that is what they are doing. They explain themselves when they do not owe an explanation. They apologize when they have done nothing wrong. They lower their standards to avoid conflict, then wonder why people treat them like a moving floor rather than solid ground. They make themselves smaller, quieter, more agreeable, thinking that accommodation will earn them appreciation. It does not, it earns them contempt. This is one of the most painful paradoxes of the nice person's life. The more you bend, the less you are respected. Not because people are cruel, though some are, but because the human mind equates flexibility with weakness, and weakness with an open invitation to push further. Machiavelli's solution was not to become aggressive or domineering. It was to build such an undeniable presence, through competence, through consistency, through the quiet authority of someone who knows their own worth, that demanding respect becomes unnecessary. People do not ask the ocean to take them seriously. They respect it because the ocean makes its power known without a single word. You must become that kind of force, not through loudness, not through intimidation, but through the slow, steady, unshakable accumulation of a life that speaks for itself. When you know your value, you do not negotiate it. When you set a standard, you do not apologize for it, and when someone disrespects you, you do not argue, you simply adjust the distance between you and them, quietly and permanently. Respect built on position lasts. Respect begged for evaporates. Choose accordingly. Rule 4. Learn to identify the difference between an ally and a flatterer. One of Machiavelli's most urgent warnings, one he returned to again and again in The Prince, was about flatterers. He considered them one of the greatest threats to any person seeking to build something real. Because flatterers are not enemies. They look, sound, and behave exactly like friends. And that is precisely what makes them dangerous. A flatterer tells you what you want to hear. They celebrate your ideas enthusiastically, regardless of whether those ideas are good. They agree with your opinions, not because they share them, but because agreement keeps you comfortable, and comfort keeps you generous. They make you feel seen, understood, appreciated, and while you are feeling all of those things, they are studying you. Learning which levers to pull. Learning how to extract what they need from you while giving as little as possible in return. Nice people are uniquely vulnerable to flatterers, because nice people are often starved of genuine appreciation. When someone finally comes along and says all the right things, when someone validates your intelligence, your kindness, your potential, it feels like finding water in a desert. You drink deeply, and you do not notice, at first, that the water is being rationed. Machiavelli's test for distinguishing a true ally from a flatterer was simple. Tell them the truth about yourself. Share a failure, a flaw, a doubt. A real ally will engage honestly. They will offer perspective, push back if necessary, or simply sit with you in the discomfort of reality. A flatterer will pivot immediately. They will minimize your flaw, change the subject, or redirect the conversation back to your strengths. Not because they are being kind, but because honesty is uncomfortable, and discomfort disrupts the performance. Surround yourself with people who will tell you hard truths delivered with genuine care. Those people are rare. When you find them, hold on, they are the ones who will save you from your worst decisions, and from the worst people. Rule 5. Control your emotions in public, because emotional vulnerability is the first door manipulators walk through. Machiavelli understood something about power that most people spend a lifetime learning the hard way. Whoever controls the emotional temperature of a situation controls the outcome. Nice people are emotional. They feel deeply, care deeply, and react deeply. These are not flaws. In the right relationships and the right contexts, emotional openness is a profound strength. But in the presence of people who do not mean you well, your emotions are not your strength. They are your exposure. When you react with anger, you reveal what threatens you. When you react with desperation, you reveal how much you need something. When you react with anxiety, you signal that you can be pressured. And the moment someone discovers which buttons produce which reactions, they have a map to manipulate you, and they will use it, sometimes consciously, sometimes instinctively, but always effectively. Machiavelli's counsel was to develop what modern psychologists might call emotional regulation, the ability to feel without immediately performing. This does not mean suppressing your emotions. It means choosing where, when, and with whom you express them. It means learning the discipline of stillness in moments when everything in you wants to react. The next time someone does something designed to destabilize you, an insult, a provocation, a dismissal, try this: go completely quiet. Not the quiet of surrender. The quiet of someone who is in full control and is choosing, deliberately, not to give their energy away. That silence is often more powerful than any response you could have given. People who cannot control your reactions cannot control you. This is the wall Machiavelli would have you build, not around your heart, but around your composure. Rule 6. Make yourself difficult to replace, because value commands everything that begging cannot. Machiavelli wrote that a prince who is feared is safer than one who is loved, because love depends on obligation, and obligation is abandoned the moment it becomes inconvenient. But he was not advising you to become fearsome in the petty sense. He was making a deeper point. Security does not come from being liked. It comes from being necessary. Nice people spend enormous energy trying to be liked. They adjust their personality in different rooms for different audiences. They shrink to fit spaces that were never designed to hold someone of their full size. They give more than they should, agree more than they believe, and accommodate more than is reasonable, all in the pursuit of approval. And they discover, eventually, that approval is one of the most unstable currencies in human exchange. It can disappear overnight, for reasons that have nothing to do with you. Value, however, is different. Value is harder to fake and harder to dismiss. When you are the most skilled person in your field, people need you. When you are the most reliable person in someone's life, they do not want to lose you. When you bring something to the table that cannot easily be replicated or replaced, the dynamic of every relationship, personal and professional, shifts in your favor without a single argument being made. Machiavelli would tell you, invest in yourself with the same intensity that nice people invest in other people's opinions of them. Develop skills that are rare. Build discipline that is uncommon. Cultivate a reputation for excellence rather than agreeableness. Because agreeableness makes you easy to be around, but excellence makes you impossible to walk away from. Stop trying to be liked. Start becoming undeniable. The world will catch up. Rule 7. Know when to walk away, and do it without announcement or apology. This may be the rule that cuts the deepest, because it requires something that nice people find genuinely painful: the willingness to leave without trying to fix it first. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler who delays necessary action out of hope that things will improve is not demonstrating patience, he is demonstrating weakness. And that weakness always costs more in the end than the action he was afraid to take at the beginning. Nice people stay too long in relationships that are draining them, in friendships that have become one-directional, in professional environments that exploit their reliability while ignoring their growth. They stay because they believe in people. They stay because they remember how good things used to be. They stay because walking away feels like failure, like they are giving up on someone, abandoning them at the wrong moment, proving that they were not really committed. But here is what Machiavelli understood, and what you need to sit with. There is a form of suffering that is not noble. It is not sacrifice, it is self-neglect with good branding. Staying in something that is slowly destroying you is not loyalty. It is a slow surrender dressed in the language of virtue. The moment you realize a situation cannot be changed, not through more effort, not through more grace, not through more patience, the most powerful thing you can do is leave, quietly, without a dramatic exit speech, without explaining yourself to people who have already shown they cannot understand you, without waiting for permission or validation that will never come. You do not need to announce your departure to make it real. You do not need to make someone understand why you are going in order to be justified in going. Simply go. The relief that follows will feel, at first, like grief. And then it will feel like something else entirely. The specific, singular piece of someone who finally chose themselves. Rule 8. Rebuild yourself in private, and return as someone they did not expect. This is the final rule, and in many ways, it is the most important, because it is not about protecting yourself from others. It is about what you do with yourself once the protection is in place. Machiavelli believed deeply in the power of timing and transformation. He understood that a man who rebuilds in secret and returns with strength has a strategic and psychological advantage over everyone who watched him fall and assumed the fall was the end of the story. When you are done being used, when you have drawn your lines, built your walls, identified your allies, controlled your exposure, you enter a sacred season. A season of becoming. And the most important thing you can do during this season is resist the urge to perform your transformation for an audience. Do not post about your growth. Do not announce your healing. Do not invite people back into your life before the work is done, because unfinished transformation is vulnerable to the same forces that damaged you in the first place. Work in silence. Struggle in private. Build in the dark. Read, study, exercise, sleep properly and eat with intention. Revisit your goals not as fantasies but as engineering blueprints, practical, specific, time-bound. Find a mentor, physical or through their writing, who has stood where you were standing and found a way through. Become so focused on your own construction that other people's opinions about your life simply stop finding space to land. And then, when the work is done, when you can feel the difference in how you stand, in how you think, in how you respond to the world around you, re-emerge. Not with a speech, not with a performance, simply by living at a level that makes it impossible for anyone who knew you before to deny what you have become. The most powerful message you will ever send is not a confrontation. It is not a revenge plot. It is not a public declaration of your worth. It is the quiet, undeniable, walking proof that you took the worst that happened to you, went somewhere private with it, and turned it into fuel. Machiavelli did not believe in victimhood. He believed in leverage. And your greatest leverage, your most devastating and beautiful response to everyone who underestimated you, is a version of yourself that they never saw coming. So here they are, Machiavelli's 8 rules for people who are done being used. Stop announcing your intentions to those who are not on your side. Release the expectation of gratitude from people whose loyalty was always conditional. Position yourself so powerfully that respect stops being something you ask for and starts being something you command. Learn to see the difference between a genuine ally and a skilled flatterer. Guard your emotional reactions like the strategic intelligence they are. Invest in becoming so valuable that replaceability is no longer part of anyone's calculation. Walk away from what cannot be saved, and do it without apology. And rebuild yourself in private, so that your return is not just a comeback, it is a statement. None of this is about becoming heartless. Machiavelli himself was not heartless, he was simply clear-eyed. He saw the world as it was, and he equipped himself accordingly. He understood that kindness is a gift worth protecting, and that the only way to protect it is to stop giving it away to people who were never grateful to receive it. You are allowed to be done. You are allowed to be strategic. You are allowed to stop shrinking yourself to make other people comfortable in spaces they were never meant to occupy in your life. The nice person you were is not gone. They are just no longer in charge of every decision. Now wisdom is in charge. And wisdom, as Machiavelli would tell you, is not the enemy of goodness. It is the guardian of it. If this video resonated with you, if something in these words woke something up that you needed to hear, then do not let this be the last conversation we have. Subscribe to this channel right now. Every week, we bring you philosophy like this. Deep, honest, transformational content built for people who are serious about becoming more than what the world tried to make them. Hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and bring a friend who needs to hear this. The growth of this community is built on people like you, people who are ready to stop being used and start being extraordinary. Until next time, think clearly, move wisely, and remember, the most powerful version of yourself has always been waiting. Machiavelli just gave you the key.